If you've been scrolling through endless listings, comparing dimensions, temperatures, and price tags, only to feel more confused about which wine fridge actually makes sense for your space, you're not alone. I've been in that spot more times than I'd like to admit, standing in the kitchen aisle, trying to picture a 15-inch unit slipping behind a countertop, while wondering if it will really keep my collection safe without breaking the bank. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes I'm going to walk through the CaLefort 15-inch dual-zone wine cooler, break down who should really consider it, and point out the trade-offs that most reviewers skip. First off, the biggest question most people ask about a wine fridge is whether the temperature range is actually usable for a mixed collection. The unit promises a 40-65 F span, which on paper seems to cover everything from light-bodied whites to full-bodied reds. In practice, that range works well for the serve-now approach most home enthusiasts use. If you keep whites around 45-50 F and reds closer to 60 F, the compressor's fan circulation maintains a relatively even environment across the two zones. Because it's a true dual-zone model, you can set each half independently, so you're not forced into a compromised temperature that would dull the fruit of a Pinot Grigio or mute the tannins of a Cabernet. For anyone who likes to rotate bottles weekly or entertain with a variety of styles, that flexibility is a real day-to-day advantage. Now, let's talk capacity. 2 units together give you 3.0 cubic feet, and the manufacturer says you can fit up to 56 bottles. The truth is a bit more nuanced. Those adjustable solid wood shelves are sturdy enough to hold standard 750 milliliters bottles, but the total number you can actually fit depends on bottle shape. Tall, broad-shouldered bottles, think of some New World reds, will need a bit more vertical clearance, which forces you to use the higher shelf setting and lose a couple of rows. In my own test setup, I managed around 48 bottles comfortably, with a few larger bottles tucked in the lower zone. If you own a modest collection under 30 bottles, the unit will never feel cramped. If you're aiming for a full 50-plus bottle cellar, you should double-check how your bottle shapes line up with the shelf adjustments before committing. One of the subtle strengths of the CaLefort design is the hidden hinge system. Most wine coolers you see in stores have the visible hinges on the door, which can be an eyesore in a sleek kitchen. Here the hinges are concealed, allowing the glass door to sit flush against the frame. This not only looks cleaner but also reduces the chance of dust or debris sneaking in around the hinge. In a kitchen where the fridge is tucked under a countertop or placed against a wall, that hidden hinge makes the unit feel almost built-in even when you're using it as a freestanding piece. For a home bar that's meant to blend with modern cabinetry, that visual integration is a noteworthy perk. Temperature consistency is another practical point. The unit relies on a compressor with fan circulation, which means the air moves constantly, good for keeping temperature even, but it also introduces a low hum. In a quiet dining room or a tasting space, the noise can be perceptible if the cooler is placed directly against a wall. Most reviewers note it's comparable to a small refrigerator, not a whisper-quiet wine cellar. If you plan to keep the unit in a separate cabinet or a low-traffic corner, the sound shouldn't be an issue. However, if you're dreaming of a silent, wall-mounted cooler in a living room nook, you may want to test the acoustic impact before finalizing placement. The double-layer tempered glass door with UV protection is a feature that often sounds like marketing fluff, but it actually matters. UV rays can degrade wine over months, causing premature oxidation. The dual glass construction blocks a significant portion of UV light, giving your bottles an extra layer of protection. This is especially valuable if your cooler sits near a window or under a kitchen light that runs all day. The glass also stays clear enough to see your bottles at a glance, so you can spot that special bottle without opening the door. For anyone who wants a visual cue while entertaining, this practicality can't be overstated. On the downside, the unit isn't the most space-efficient if you have limited floor area. Each 15-inch cooler measures roughly 16 inches wide, 20 inches deep, and 33 inches tall. 2 of them side by side will take up close to 4 feet of width, which can be a stretch for smaller kitchens or tight bar setups. The design is meant for under-counter installation, but the underside needs at least a couple of inches of clearance for airflow. If you're planning to stack them or place them directly on a shelf without allowing for ventilation, you could run into temperature fluctuations or strain the compressor over time. Another practical limitation is the 12-month product support policy. While it's good that they provide a year of assistance, many competing brands offer